Alright, so we've had several people reach out and ask us about our sous vide cooker. They want to learn a little bit about how it worked. So today we're going to be showing you how to cook with the sous vide. Alright, so sous vide is a French word that means under vacuum. And that's because the food that we're going to be cooking is vacuum sealed. The way it works is you'll put it in the water bath. In this case, we have a container here made just for this. It's got this hole in the top. And once we plug this in and turn it on, we're going to set it to the exact temperature we want. Place the food in there so it's all the way submerged in that water bath. And it's going to cook it at the exact temperature you want it, no more, no less. Now, this is a great way to do something that's easy to overcook or undercook, like a chicken breast. It's a great way to add extra flavor to stuff as well. You can vacuum seal your food with you know, herbs and seasoning and spices that lock in that flavor. This is especially more practical for thick cuts of meat. If you want to do a big, thick chicken breast, a pork chop, or a prime rib, I've done that several times. What happens is you're able to cook that at the exact temperature you want. Now today, we're going to be cooking a steak. This is a thick steak. This is a Tomahawk Ribeye. This is a great way to show you how to use the sous vide to cook this thing at exactly the right temperature. Now for Hannah and I, we like our steaks at medium rare. So for medium rare, it's about 130 to 135 degrees inside. So for us, we're going to be cooking this at 128 degrees, exactly. The reason for that, we want to cook it so it's exactly where we want it, and once we pull it out, we're going to sear it off, and that's going to help it continue to rise to that 130 to 135 degree mark. So this thing's going to have that perfectly medium rare color from the top to the bottom. So we're going to vacuum seal this in a bag with some roasted garlic, some thyme, some salt and pepper. We usually use rosemary, but we're out. We might use some Montreal steak seasoning or something like that, but we're going to season it well. Vacuum seal it. Now, you don't have to have a vacuum seal machine to achieve this either, and we're going to show you how you can do that. You can take a big Ziploc bag and use water displacement to push all that air out so it's completely vacuum sealed. Alright, so we've got our steak here. We're going to give it a lot of salt. And season this like you would any steak you're going to cook any other way. Get plenty on the board there so you can get the sides of it. I like to take a little Montreal seasoning too. Alright, now like I said, this is completely optional. You season it however you want to. We've got some roasted garlic here we just pulled out of the oven. Take a little bit of that. Just kind of spread it out a little bit. Get some additional garlic flavor, which I love. Alright, like I said, if you don't have a vacuum sealing machine, that's fine. Get a big Ziploc. We got a 2-gallon one here. Set it there. Alright, now, like I said, we usually use rosemary too, but we just don't have any, so we'll take some time. Alright. We're going to close that up. All but just right at the end, we're going to leave a little bit of a hole. Alright, now take your bowl of water, whatever you're using, and start submerging it, and leave just that little gap of air at the top open, and push it down, and the water is going to force all the air out of it. Almost perfectly vacuum sealed. There's probably a little bit of air in it, more so than if you actually use a vacuum seal machine, but it's good enough. So we're going to make sure that all the meat is down underneath the water. Close the lid. Set it for 129 degrees. Now, normally you'd already have the water hot. I wanted to show you how you can use that method, but normally you'd have the water already up to temperature, but it'll be all right. Hit play, and don't touch it for 2.5 hours. Now, the bigger the meat, the more you're going to have to cook it. There's all of the cookers come with guides, and you can look on their websites. This is the Innova machine. I'll put a link for that in the description Now when this comes out, we're gonna have to let it rest and then we're gonna sear it. It's very important that you do that for a few reasons. Number one, I eat with my eyes first. If something looks pretty, it's gonna taste better to me. When something comes out of this, it's not gonna have that good color that you're wanting. It's gonna be very gray and dull looking because it doesn't have enough heat to give it a crust. So there's a few different ways to go about searing it, and we'll show you that when we're done, but that's an important step. So if you wanted to do something like put 5 chicken breasts in here, you can pull them all out, put 4 of them in the fridge, cook one that night. The next day come out, all you gotta do is sear that chicken breast off and it's good to go. It's perfectly cooked and it's gonna be warm and ready to go. It's just a great tool to have in your kitchen. And we're gonna let this go for 2.5 hours, come back and we'll show you how to finish this off. This has been going for about 3 hours. It probably took about 2.5 to get all the way cooked through, but you can go a little bit longer, you can go quite a bit longer if you need to. That's one of the beauties of sous vide. Now, the next step is to remove it from the heat. This smells so good. And we're gonna just let it sit here and let it rest. We're gonna give it about 20-30 minutes, take it out, and then we're gonna sear it off as hot as we can get it. All right, now speaking of searing it off, let's talk about how we're gonna do that. There are several different ways to sear it, but when it comes out, it doesn't have that direct heat, so it's got this gray color. It's not very pretty looking. You want a crust for one, because it's gonna look great, but two, it also helps add flavor. It adds an awesome texture to it that's gonna add to the final piece, and it's vital to having a good finished product. Now there's a few different ways to go about searing it off. You can use a cast iron skillet, some oil, get it as hot as you can, hit it on each side for 60 seconds. Some things you can put it under the broiler. We did that with our prime rib recipe. Broil it as hot as you can on each side. It helps develop that crust. You can use the grill. We've got the charcoal chimney going as hot as it can. Once that's done, it'll be about time for that to come out of the resting period, and we can sear it on each side for about 60 seconds. You can also use a torch. You literally take a torch to the top of it, or you can use a flamethrower. Whatever you want to do.
You know, I just love that in our house like that.
I did. Whatever you want to do, be careful because it's going to be very hot. That's the whole goal, is to get it as hot as you can. It helps get the crust all around it. We're going to go out here to the grill and show you how to do that.
All right, now we're going to sear this off. We've got our charcoal chimney here with our grill grate right on top of this. I advise that if you do this, you be very careful, but it's a very practical way of searing something off, especially, you know, because we have this Tomahawk Ribeye with a big handle on it. The charcoal chimney concentrates all this heat so that it's very, very easy to get it really hot. All this needs is 60 seconds on each side, and you can see the kind of crust it's already forming. We also like to sear the side of it as well, so use that handle, but just be very careful.
All right, this thing looks unbelievable. We seared it off as hot as we can. We've let it rest for about 15-20 minutes now, so we're gonna cut into this thing, cut this bone off, set that aside. Just cut it right down the middle. Look at that. It's literally edge to edge, medium rare. I would take this over just about anything. Sous vide is the way to go, especially for anything thick like this. We'll have a link in the description for this, but that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, we're always free to, reach out to us, let us know. We'd be happy to help you, especially with your first sous vide. It's kind of intimidating, I get that, but you won't regret trying it and getting into that. So thanks for watching.
So that's it for this recipe. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate everyone who engages with us. We ask that if you could, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel to support us and help us grow. Leave a comment for what you want to see us cook next. And as always, thanks for watching.